You wait just a minute, Paul. It is ignorant, hateful talk like yours that makes this world a place our boys could not live in. They were not dirty. They were not wrong. They were two lonely verses in the Lord's great song.
Our boys were pansies, Bill.
Yes! My boys are homosexual, and that don't scare me none. I want the world to know I love my dead gay son. Now I've been thinking...
Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack.
David Crane's Amazing Movie Time.
All right, hello and welcome everyone to another installment of David Crane's Amazing Movie Time. My name is Ryan, and as always, I'm joined by Andy and Nate. The movie that we're going to be discussing this time, it's my pick, is Heathers. This was a 1988-89 film, and basically it's like a black comedy. The story is supposed to be that Veronica is part of the most popular clique in school, but she disapproves of her other friends and their behavior. So she gets a new boyfriend named JD, and they confront the clique, and murder and hilarity ensues. And Veronica is played by Winona Ryder. JD is played by Christian Slater, trying to pretend he's Jack Nicholson.
Doesn't he always do that?
Nope, I think he really hammed it up for this one, though. He laid it on thick.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one.
No, it's like he never, like, in anything else I've seen him in, he does not. He's always got like kind of that tone to his voice, but he was pushing it for sure.
He amped it up big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like, the plot of this movie, it's kind of like, more people are probably going to be familiar with Mean Girls and that film. It's essentially that, but with more murder. So JD, the new boyfriend of Veronica, like, JD sort of like very easily tricks Veronica into murdering everyone. Like, apparently he didn't really have to twist her arm too much. And I think like this film, I think, is very good, and it falls into like the same level of like cult classic as a lot of other 80s films. It is just hampered in one very obvious way. And the reason why you didn't hear a lot about this movie going forward, and it didn't have a resurgence like the other 80s films did, I think, in like the 90s and 2000s era, is this is heavily based on the humor that it is so absurd that a group of teenagers would kill themselves or blow up the school to murder everyone. Mm-hmm. So the running joke sadly becomes an everyday reality just 10 years after this film comes out, which is why you don't hear a lot about Heathers. It very much is offensive in a post-Columbine world. It might have been tongue-in-cheek in this crazy proposition that they based the film on, but sadly, it's several time a year event now in this country.
And I think they were like responding, like that time when this was made, there was a big outcry of like teenage suicide. There's a big epidemic of that. So you could definitely tell that they were, saying a message and responding to that a little bit in this movie.
Right.
But they couldn't have predicted where we are now, where this movie is like, wow, this could not get made anymore,
Yeah. Well, then the JD's character, like, pulling out a real gun in school and shooting blanks at a couple jocks, like,
yeah,
you'd be in prison now. Like, they didn't even expel the kid. He's like back the next day.
Right. And he's wearing a trench coat of all things too,
Yeah,
like,
that's true. The black duster. Yeah. So basically, like, it's such a weird movie because they basically kill anyone who JD finds annoying, pretty much is what happens. And I think, like, to me, like, the comedy's there, if you're not the type of person who's offended by, death as a joke, it's funny. I think my favorite parts in the movie are just the two funeral scenes. in the church, because there's a couple memorable quotes where the first murder victim, the hottest Heather, like that the jock is like, God, why'd you have to take such a hot piece of snatch? He's like, I'm just kidding. And it's like an inner monologue while he's up there like kneeling over the casket. And then when the two jocks get killed, and then the dad's up there just proclaiming, I love my dead gay son. Like, that is one of the best things in a movie that I've seen. Oh gosh, it's so funny. And then just the whole setup to that, and like the two like jocks like being gay lovers, and like the evidence that they plant with the bodies to tie it all together to make it seem like they were truly homosexuals, was that he plants a bottle of mineral water with the bodies, and then the cops see that instantly, like, oh, it's just so ridiculous. Which that joke and that setup is probably another reason why in these drastically changed and more tolerant times that movie,
that would never.
No. So this is very much a time and place movie that has been buried as a result of itself, I think, because the modern viewing culture probably wouldn't appreciate a lot of the tones.
Yeah, it's definitely a dark film. I went in thinking that I saw Heathers, but I actually have never seen the movie, so this was the first time I ever watched it. And for some reason, I must have mixed it up with like Multiplicity. Do you remember that movie?
That is a drastically different movie.
I know, for some
With
reason,
Michael
like,
Keaton.
lots
of Michael Keaton.
In my head, I was like, "This
you
is
must
just
have been
like
so
that."
confused.
Exactly. So then the film begins, and I was like, "I don't remember these parts. This is really interesting." And then it just got dark, and I'm like, "Oh, this is not what I was thinking." And that was exactly what I was thinking. Is this movie would not be okay in today's era, like that people wouldn't even think about making that movie.
No, you couldn't.
No,
it would be too much. Even though we're in a culture right now, like where horror movies are very realistic and death that way, or like movies like The Purge, where it's okay to go kill people. Like that's acceptable, but this movie still would not be acceptable in our world right now, just with everything that has happened in school shootings and suicides and stuff like that. It's definitely a dark film, but there is humorous moments in it, like you were saying, like the funeral scenes. I think there was a line in there that they were talking. It's all these video games. Do you remember hearing that line where it was like, these video games are causing this violence?
Yeah. Yep.
We need to get them to stop it. And so it was just, again, it was a movie way ahead of its time, where maybe they had an inkling of where we were going as a society or whatever. It just, there were a lot of things that were funny that are reality today.
Yeah.
Not Multiplicity.
And there's a lot of, yeah. Well, it's just kind of evidence too that like it just can't exist in today's world. As far as like the reason why you don't hear a lot about this film anymore is because, I mean, when you think about this, like Winona Ryder and Christian Slater at that time were like two of the biggest like up and coming actors, and like, you don't see this film really aired on television. Like it did get a DVD release, I saw like in 2000, but I don't recall seeing this anywhere. So like,
that's why I'm surprised it's even on Netflix.
Yeah,
like
right.
Exactly. And then what's kind of weird too is like it's almost a Tim Burton-esque approach to adults in this film. Like everything is so exaggerated, and the relationships and the dialogue is like it feels very much like something you'd see like in a Tim Burton movie, where they're just like these off, like broken stereotypes of adult conversations and interactions, and like JD's relationship with his dad. Where his dad, like, so JD, like the boyfriend, like his dad's a deranged psychopath too, which obviously is where he gets it from. But then they always talk to each other like in role reversal.
Reverse roles.
Right. Like the son is the father, and like they talk to each other like in this weird way that would never happen ever.
And never break character from it.
Right.
Yeah, if it was once, it would be okay.
It's every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, when he's like building those bombs in his bedroom and his dad's like, "Can you help me with my homework, Dad?" or something like that. And he's like, "I'm busy right now, son." It's just like this weird interaction.
That Tim Burton is a really good comparison. Especially, there are those, like, I'm going to call them cutscenes. I know that's wrong, but like cutscenes where she's dreaming or, daydreaming when they're playing croquet and stuff like that. Which
that is weird as hell too.
And it's just those couple moments that are like, what happened? Like, it's not a clear cut that she's dreaming or daydreaming. It just cuts like it's reality. And so very, very strange, very Tim Burton-esque. And those characters are amplified even more. So when we're talking about Slater's accent or whatever he was trying, I mean, that could have been part of it, where they're just pushing it, like, we're just going to amplify each character a little bit to where it's just a little bit insane. And it plays really well. It's just a really dark film.
It's funny too, like I mentioned Mean Girls, and it just kind of dawned on me, like in Mean Girls, I don't know if any of you guys saw that movie, but like the one girl calls the other girl out because she keeps saying like everything is so fetch. Like, stop trying to make fetch happen. And then in this movie, did you guys catch that they use the term very? They're like, it was so very. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I'm pretty sure that's a phrase nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, we're in our teen culture. I'm almost positive I've heard that multiple times. So
wow.
They must be watching Heathers.
Must be.
I'm sure that's what they're doing.
Well, and
it's so very.
We timed this like weirdly coincidentally because I just picked this movie at random. But The Heathers is actually relaunching as a miniseries at the end of October here. There's like a 5-part miniseries coming to television.
Really?
Yeah, based on this property. But I mean, obviously,
they use any of that tone.
Right. They're going to have to change a lot of it. But
what network?
I forget. I don't know. We just picked up Sling TV again, and I've been seeing commercials again for the first time in years, and it's been advertised. I could probably find out, I suppose. The old smartphone.
I have Sling, and I haven't seen any commercials on that. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of. I think because they're doing it as a. So I just searched Heathers and BBC.com. The headline: Culture, is Heathers too shocking for 2018? So I guess we're not too far off in our opinions.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, very strange movie. Like very like jaded and like twisted view of like Americana. It's like they were poking fun at anything and everything that most people would hold sacred, I guess.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind,
even just this, like even the like when the counselor gets involved,
yeah,
and she's like, get the cameras around and like let's show that we're celebrating, and again, it's over the top, something that would never happen and be acceptable today.
I mean, at that time though, they were doing like the "We Are the World" and all those like songs.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was kind of like what they were going for there.
Right, with that suicide rap thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So it says it's on the Paramount Network is when this is airing. It's going to air on the 25th, and there's 5 episodes, it sounds like.
Okay.
So interesting.
Is it a comedy, or is it going to be like we're teenagers dealing with problems?
I mean, yeah, the subtitle is Heathers, an American comedy series. So
okay.
I don't know. I assume it will be high school drama of some kind.
Not dark.
But yeah, JD and Veronica, like it's a straight, like, right into it.
Wow.
Interesting. I'm going to have to check this out. So what would you guys rate this thing on the David Crane scale? 1 to 5 blobs.
I would say 3. Kind of right in the middle. again, over top film, but very interesting. Like, I was intrigued by it, especially since I was a first time watcher. I don't have any memories of this whatsoever, so I was able to really just have a clear mind on it. And it was strange and weird and dark, but definitely put together well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say kind of right in the middle, roughly. 3.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there too. I'll say 3. I have not seen this movie before this either. So this was my first time, and yeah, that ending, when they're at the school and all that is pretty weird. And you go through all that, and then, he blows himself up, and she lights a cigarette off.
It's the best.
Off the explosion. Yeah. Which, at that point, after you're watching this, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this right here,
Okay, before I give my vote, I just want to point out one huge issue is JD went through and strapped a bunch of those bombs to those bleachers. Well, everyone who's ever been to high school knows that those bleachers collapse and fold into the wall. So when that Lyceum's over and somebody pushes those bleachers up, that school is still going kaboom. So hopefully Veronica said something. That's
actually in Heather's too. That's getting picked up after Paramount.
It's starting at the whole bleacher fold up.
As the janitor starts pushing the things in. Boosh! Heather's.
That's the opening. I like it.
At least they picked the worst thing. I hated pep rallies.
Yeah, that's true.
So at least they picked the most annoying thing.
Yeah,
and it made fun of school. Just those things that everyone hates.
Yeah. That
we all participate in. That was. It's just a dark film. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I'm gonna be right with you guys. I'd give it a 3. I think this is kind of one of those films that could definitely be in everyday discussion, The Goonies or a lot of other 80s films. Maybe not The Goonies, but you know what I mean. The Breakfast Club, that sort of shit. It's just that the given the context and how dark it is and the way things went in the future, it just does. It will never be there for obvious reasons, but definitely a hard film to forget. And if you're a Christian Slater fan, it's probably one of his worst performances because he's so damn annoying with his accent.
Yes.
But yeah, all right, Heather's. It's all right. So as always, you can find everything Weekend Rental at weekendpodcast.com, and be kind, rewind.